Considering that 82% of the population in the U.S. lives in urban areas, I think it's really important to take a look at tools for an urban survival kit. One of the things about urban survival is there's a lot of different challenges when it comes to, let's say, wilderness survival. Or areas that are more rural. Of course, one of the big challenges is, of course, an increased population. Another thing is there are local laws and restrictions that are not necessarily in more remote areas. And two, being able to blend in rather than stick out. I have everything stuffed in this bag. To me, you need a bag that is easy to carry. This one is stuffed to the gills, and I'm going to put this actually in a different bag because I just feel like this is too much. It's really tight. It's going to be difficult to find things. And so we're going to go with a little bigger, but having the gear in a small compact pouch or pack or even a messenger bag would work. All right, guys, here's all the gear laid out, and you can see it's quite a bit of stuff. Now, you can pare this down again to fit your needs as we look through it, but we've really thought this out, and there's a number of different subsections, so we're going to take a look at each one. Now, you should always have your EDC on your person, and of course your phone, wallet, your keys, a flashlight, a pen. I am carrying, my knife is the Microtech, and this is the LUDT. This thing is fantastic. One thing, of course, in an urban environment, you got to be careful what you carry, automatics especially. Now, one thing too is key is the firearm that you're carrying. You need to carry something compact, but yet has some capacity, and that's one of the things about the Glock 19 that I love, plus 2 extra magazines. And of course your holster, the Jackson Leatherwork holster. I was actually carrying something else today because I'm around the house, but this is what my choice would be in an urban situation. Now, obviously, in an urban situation, self-defense is really one of the top priorities. I mean, you've got a lot of people. Humans are the #1 predator. I mean, they're the top of the food chain, so you've got to be careful. You may live in a city where you can't have a firearm or even a knife, but a lot of times pepper spray is okay, and then a tactical pen. One thing that's a lot of times overlooked as a self-defense option is a flashlight. And with the crenulated bezel, you can definitely use this, plus you can carry this almost anywhere. And so this is definitely something that I would consider to be one of my top self-defense items. This is the M2R Pro Warrior from Olight. It is rechargeable, but I can carry extra batteries. So guys, you should be dressed for conditions. If it's cold weather, you should have a jacket already. Of course, if it's warm, you're going to be dressed accordingly. But you need to have a good pair of boots or shoes that you can walk a lot of distance in, and yet they're rugged and they're built for getting around obstacles. Also for rain, having a good rain poncho or rain jacket tucked away, and the less obtrusive, the more it kind of blends in, the better. And then of course a hat keeps the sun off, but also the rain. And this particular hat, it has wax impregnated in it, so it just helps it to retain the moisture. A watch cap would also be a good choice. And then having some good gloves that are sturdy, that if you need to move some debris around or whatever, you've got gloves and it protects your hands. Speaking of protection, having some eyeglasses, and ballistic eyeglasses are the best. These are Stingers. These things are almost indestructible. I mean, the lenses, the body, they're just tough. And so I highly recommend these, not only for shooting, but also for this type situation. Also a bandana. Cover your face. I mean, there's a lot of uses for bandanas, so I always keep those in all my survival kits. Smoke, debris, dust, things like that. But you need to take it a step farther and get some kind of filter masks. Now, these are N95 rated. You can go on up to N99, and of course there are others. And two, I like to keep it in the packaging because these can get deformed and messed up. And what I did was just trim the packaging out, and so it gives it a little bit of protection. If you're getting some of the respirators, the big pieces, they do get large, and it will probably draw more attention than these small little masks. Now guys, in an urban situation, there should be an abundance of water, but water services can be tainted, they can be shut off. You can find water, but it may not be potable water to drink. And so this is one of the indoor filters. You've got to be able to purify your water, but you also need a container. And to me, this is one of the best of both. Or the Berkey Sport bottle is also a good one. But this has the water filter actually built in. And so I've got water right here, and I can carry it with me. And that is critical. I do have a filter straw that I carry, but if I need to take water with me, I can't unless I have a container. This takes care of both. Then for food. Food is not one of the priorities but if you're really in a stressful situation and you're having to do a lot, having some kind of food to be able to, when those calories burn down. This is 3,600 calories. These are SOS, emergency food rations. This is actually lifeboat food. It really tastes good. It tastes a lot like graham crackers, and it doesn't make you thirsty. So these are great to have, and they last about 5 years plus. And it's heavy, but it's a solid meal you can eat on the run. Medical is really important, but I went ahead and put hygiene in here as well. Having a tourniquet, guys, I'm telling you, this is crucial. And then having some compression gauze and packed up some nitrile gloves, a few other things. This makes a complete trauma kit. Then I have my boo-boo kit, and this has Band-Aids, Advil, Neosporin, all those little things, and wet wipes or baby wipes. These are important to keep yourself clean as well, and of course, toilet paper. You can use the wet wipes, but they get pretty cold, so a little bit of toilet paper goes a long way. Now obviously we have cell phones and we have GPS and we can get around, and we've really become very dependent on it. Having a good map, especially a city map if you can get them, they're getting harder and harder to come by, guys, but a lot of times gas stations that or travel places will have these maps and a compass. Now you may say, I know my city from end to end, I know every street, but in a civil unrest situation where even buildings could be possibly destroyed, you may not be able to tell where you are. And so having a good map and a compass is important. And of course, I've had to use a map actually one time when my GPS went out on me, and I happened to have a map in my vehicle. And speaking of electronics, battery bank or battery backup, and also the cables that you need, your phone charger, plus like this flashlight, this M2R Pro needs, it is rechargeable, so I've got my charging and I can hook it up to this. And you may have other things, and definitely for your phone. Also have the charging cable to plug in your battery bank if you happen to find power and a USB source. And guys, one thing that I highly recommend is keeping a book with all your phone numbers written down, contact information, just a lot of important things that you need to know. In case you lose your phone gets damaged, and you need to call numbers. Unfortunately, with contact list, we're not memorizing numbers like we used to, and having this as a backup is key. Having batteries for your flashlights, and here you can see I've just got some of the CR123s. This is a great way to keep them, and this Firearms little container is excellent. You can actually attach this to MOLLE webbing, but having those battery backups. Having a fire kit, I keep one of these in whatever I'm doing. And this is just a little Maxpedition pouch with a number of different ways to start fire. Big lighters are great, but when they go out, you find yourself in trouble. Ferrocerium rods, strikers, and these are Exotac. Have some matches here, lifeboat matches, and a little bit of tinder here with the Ingalls Creek Wilderness Outfitters. And then tinder tabs in the back and Vaseline and cotton balls. Keep all this together in one location if I need to start a fire. Because guys, fire can boil your water, it can give you heat, it can cook your food, it can build morale, it can keep predators at bay, it gives you light. Fire is key. Now obviously having the right tools, you're going to find yourself locked out. There are fences, there are barriers, there are gates, there's a lot of different things that you need to consider, even more so in an urban situation. Now a fixed blade knife is one thing that I definitely recommend for anyone in a survival situation. But the BK3, which is a BK and K-Bar collaboration, this is a great urban survival option. We did a whole video on 4 different survival options right here with this kind of a pry bar with a knife blade, saw. The end can be used as an impact or a hammer even. And these are fantastic. Seatbelt cutter. This is a great option. I love this knife. But also a regular pry bar. Those things you can get them at about anywhere, and this is great if you find yourself in trouble, you need to get into something, you need to get something off of you. There's a lot of reasons that having that leverage is important. Bolt cutters, and of course you can get some really large bolt cutters, but getting through certain things, bolt cutters are great. Getting through even through fences. And then channel lock pliers. Seal cock tool. This is excellent, especially in the city, because this has multiple ways to be able to turn certain valves, and so I highly recommend these. And then obviously a multi-tool, and something that's capable. Of course, there's so many tools with this, makes this a great option for whatever. but definitely in an urban situation. Now, one thing that I don't have right here is a lock pick set, but guys, knowing how to pick a lock is a really good skill. Now, one of the problems with having all these tools, if you get caught with them, you could be facing some possible questions about maybe, burglary or breaking and entering, but in a grid down situation, I don't think that's going to really be a problem. And guys, while these tools are heavy and there may be some other options, definitely these are going to be worth their weight in gold if you find yourself in a really tough situation. Guys, a flashlight is just super important, and especially in an urban, especially at night. I like, though, headlamps. That's my preferred choice. Really, as far as having only one, I would choose something like this, mainly because I can take this light off of this mount and use it as a standard light. Now, you're not going to be able to use this as a security tool, but definitely you can use it for light. Now, we have a paracord, and this one has a little lighter and a cutter. This is the spool tool, but we have about 100 feet of paracord. Paracord's cordage, it's something that you can use so many ways. And then I have just a little toolkit, and this is kind of a supplement. There's a couple of these things that I've already shown, but I keep it in this little pouch. Everything's together. It's kind of an admin pouch, and I do keep my multi-tool in here. A spork. This is one of the screw pops. Has a screwdriver on the bottom with Phillips head and flat, and a bottle opener. Also some chapstick, my Frontier filter straw, a Sharpie, some safety pins, Silcock back here, and also duct tape. And what I love is this duct tape. I found this actually at Lowe's or Home Depot. It's wrapped around some corrugated plastic, and that way it's not a big roll. Down in this other pouch, I have one of the hydrated towels. You add a little water and this thing just pops right out. Also have a small candle. This is a 4-hour candle, and this is from Exotac. Gives you some light, especially at night. And then I have a small little flashlight tucked away right in here, which, guys, redundancy is important, just like with my fire kit, just like with the water. I've got different methods. And guys, with all these small items, I can keep it all in one location. And that's the reason why I like to have these little small kits, just like the fire kit. And having a really good sturdy pouch, hard to beat my Expedition. So here, I've got everything in one location. Now guys, shelter is vital, and there's a lot of different ways you can go, but for me, I love the tarps with the Mylar inside. This is like an emergency space blanket on steroids. It's even got eyelets. I can make a shelter out of this. I mean, there's so many things I can do. Wrap up in it. It is blue. There are some other colors you can get. These are, to me, one of the most important tools you can use to keep yourself warm, keep the elements off, and cover yourself up in the rain, cover up your pack, whatever. I also like to have heavy meal trash bags, and I typically keep those around. But this, to me, is really one of the best options out there. Now, guys, one thing that's a bonus is I like to keep one of these 3A panels in the back of my backpack. This is only going to stop handgun fire or shrapnel, things like that. But I like this. Is really easy to slide into the backpack. It gives you somewhat some protection. I mean, if you're going away from a threat, or if you're facing a threat, you can put the backpack in front of you. And again, it gives you just a little bit of protection from, whatever's going on. And it's really easy to put in the pack. All right, guys, got everything packed in this 35-liter bag. This is from Roaring Fire Gear, and this is a very inexpensive yet decent quality little pack. I think these run about $35, something like that. Maybe a little bit less on Amazon. And I'll have a link down below in the description for this. But also, my boots, they just take up too much space to go into my bag. I'd keep these in my vehicle, and I'd keep my hat, my ball cap in there as well, which could still stuff in here. But I still have a little bit of room I can use, and that way I can get to different things. But one thing I will say is the things that are most necessary, like medical, different, water, things like that, keep those where you can get to them easily once you open up the pack. But guys, overall, this should at least get you through some tough situations in an urban environment. And again, there's so many different things that you may leave, that you may add. We all have our different preferences, different choices. So at least have something geared toward urban survival. So guys, if you live in or near urban areas or places, if you're visiting an urban area quite a bit, it's really smart to have those different tools set up that are going to be specific to urban environments. And guys, to be honest with you, a lot of these tools can be used no matter where you are. But in an urban situation, hopefully that'll help you just get ahead a little bit. If you have some ideas or some thoughts, please leave them down in the comments below, because it's really important for us as a community to look to build the urban survival kit that is most effective. And guys, if you're serious about survival and prepping, check out Survival Dispatch Insider, one of the best resources on the web, taking a lot of the top names in the survival community. We upload one video there exclusive every week. I'll have a link down below in the description. I highly recommend checking it out. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic.